This is Hector with Unbroken Eagle, just sitting back, relaxing over here at Jack in the Box, waiting for Zach to get his interview and job. And while we're doing that, we're just having conversations. So, yeah, sit back and relax.
Yeah.
Intro.
Yep, this is Zach. We're just taking time to do some introspection and think about life and have some good stuff going on.
Yeah, so
as far as working in the kitchen, though, it's definitely the speed that I like going. It's a focus point. I don't have to look at the clock. I don't have to worry about some other things. I can focus in on what I'm doing. Like I said, line work, line cook.
like a production line.
Production line,
right.
exactly. It's that teamwork. It goes everywhere from the kitchen to, like I say, construction.
Exactly.
Teamwork is a big one there.
Yeah. No, I mean, you have to have that, teamwork attitude too when you're working those kinds of jobs. Because if you have and I've experienced it, where if somebody has a bad attitude, you can't even communicate with him the next step, in the process, or it's just not a good, environment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then his anger or frustration that he's having, although maybe it's not directly, because of you, it's affecting you. You know what I'm saying? So you're feeling like, well, I mean, what's up with this guy? Does he have a problem with me, or what the hell? And so then that's where, people start clashing, and that's not good for any kind of, team environment.
It's that lack of communication. So when you have all that lacking communication, you get all that frustration, and you can't communicate what they need to do, but you also can't communicate what you need from someone. And like you just said, you can't. Both ends of you can't communicate your needs, and that's a big part, because at any point you both people in this scenario need something, right? So you need from each other. It's what you're willing to give each other, how you communicate it, like taking the time, because frustration can be a big thing. It can stop people so easily in their tracks.
Mm-hmm. And that's where, not taking things personally also, you know what I'm saying, comes into play big time. And I think that's the problem that, everybody has, throughout time, it's just, we take things way too personal, you know what I'm saying? And we need to be able to step back in that moment where we feel like, okay, I think this guy might have an issue with me, and then really think about it and be like, wait, I know that I've never done anything wrong to him, and if I have, I've apologized, I've said my piece about it. If he's still having an issue with it, then it's just on him.
Yeah.
And he needs to be able to process it. You know what I'm saying? So maybe just stepping away from that situation where he's being hostile or whatever and not reacting to it is going to be the best option.
Yeah. I mean, I would think it's one of the more valid options, at least. It gives you space and time to think. But we don't even do that for ourselves. We don't take that space and time for ourselves to think. And I think that's
true.
The big thing with us talking is maybe we sit back and actually look at ourselves and do that thinking. Because, hindsight is 20/20, and everything in the past is perfectly clear because you're like, I see it for what it is.
Yeah.
But we live in the moment. We're living, in these next 5 minutes, these next couple hours of the day. So I think that we can take that hindsight and really apply it to something short-term, 5-10 minutes, an hour into your future. I think you can take that hindsight, I give up feel, like, oh yeah, it's just in the past, I can't do anything about it. Mm-hmm. You can apply it forward in that communication and in the breaking down of your ego and becoming more attuned to yourself. I think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal to stop and look in one's moment right now. How do you feel right now? What are you doing right now? Because, again, hindsight is 20/20. Past is the past. You can't change it. You don't know the future. So why not take the moment you do kind of understand and really evaluate it?
Yeah.
Really sit down and take the time to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I like what you have just said, man. I never actually heard that term, hindsight 2020. Like that's the first time I've heard that, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like that because I definitely do agree with having to step back and think about, how you feel about that situation or that moment that maybe put you in a bad mood, and you need to think about why it made you feel angry. Just like I said, when people cut you off, it's like, and don't give you a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because it'd be different if you guys were able to sit back and like actually talk one-to-one and be like, okay, this is the reason why I don't want you in my life anymore. Hopefully you can respect that, and then vice versa, be able to be like, okay, I will definitely look at those things that you said about myself and have to, just reflect on them. And like, if you don't want me in your life, then that's something I'm going to have to accept. I can't keep trying to push myself into it.
Yeah, it's crazy. For being such a personal situation, for someone to like disconnect with you so hard, like you can take a weird approach to handling the criticism. Like you said, people take everything too much to heart, too personally. And I think even in relationships, like that's a big deal, is like you just said, taking that criticism and allowing it to be healthy criticism so you can grow. Because as much as, a lot of us don't want to look at it that way, like we can think of a lot of our relationships as criticism because they're opinions. They're different than our own. They're maybe sometimes there to help us, to guide us, sometimes there to hinder us because people sometimes are mean and cruel. So like,
that's absolutely true. And I agree. I lost my train of thought on that one, though.
It's okay.
No, but what was I going to say about that? I was going to say that communication between couples is definitely very, very, very important. And being able to accept those criticisms, like you said, is key. But what a lot of people also have an issue with is not compromising. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, you can accept those criticisms and be like, okay, sure, I am like that, but I'm not gonna change that shit. That's who I am.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So you need to be able to like actually compromise to be able to truly 100% accept those criticisms.
There's something that Chelsea and I like to say. It's 80% give, 20% receive. It's not take. It's receive. It's what that person is giving back to you. So to make 100%, you're giving most of it away. But when it comes to like them giving to you, you don't take. You receive.
Yeah.
You like thank you. And it's a weird step back in a relationship to not want to take from your partner and be like, this is mine. It's owed to me. But rather, you're giving me something out of a gift.
Yeah, because we see each other when we get into a relationship as property. You know what I'm saying? And so it's easy to just take.
Because it's mine.
You're right.
I can use what I want. It's mine.
Yeah.
And I've had that problem in a lot of my relationships. Not this one I'm in right now, because she's really good and we communicate really well. But that's such a big deal in so many relationships, is that you just, this person is mine. This person is mine, and I can take their time. I can demand their time.
Yeah.
But it's so not true. You can't demand anything. It's if that person gives it to you, then you humbly receive.
Yeah.
Lately, I'm not really into like star signs and stuff like that, but I'm a Taurus. And something I read lately was like, be humble in your life because things will come in abundance. And I've really tried to apply that, even with being angry towards Stephanie and stuff, man. Stephanie is my ex, and she's the mother of my child, just as reference for our podcast here. So that's just the scenario right there in its entirety, is being humbled by all of these occasions. Because obviously a lot of these are not comfortable, they're not fun, it's get put out kind of feel.
it eats away at your pride and that ego, like you said, you know. So it's very hard to put that ego away sometimes in those situations.
And I've been trying to use humbleness to calm that ego, to like take that edge off that ego, is to be like, you're still there, you're Zach, you're gonna do the things you're gonna do, but why not take a slice of that humble pie, take that slice of the humble pie, just be like, okay, I'm gonna set this aside, not try to judge, not try to confront necessarily, just be willing to look inside myself and try to be better, whatever that means.
Yeah, that's really all it takes, man. And going back to taking time and, you know, demanding that time, you know, I made the big mistake also with, you know, this girl of doing that kind of, you know, not kind of, I was doing that, you know, like I was demanding to be able, you know, for her to see me at a certain time and date, you know, and I wasn't willing to accept the fact that, you know, she didn't have a lot of time in her life at the moment because she was working and she had her kid that she was taking care of and her home and, you know, her mom and all of that. I mean, she was doing all this on her own, and here I'm sitting, you know, being selfish and trying to, you know, push myself more into her life when I shouldn't have been doing that. You know, I should have been able to step back and be like, okay, well, whenever you have the time, then that's the time I will take, and I appreciate that time you're making in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think, like me reflecting on that, you know, has also made me, you know, realize that I need to be more understanding and willing to accept what people are sending out, you know, or trying to give to me. You know, be more appreciative of those gifts as you put them. You know, this has been, you know, Hector with Unbroken Ego. This was a short little episode, you know, but it's good, you know, because I'm sitting here having a conversation with Zach, and that's exactly the kind of interactions that we should be having, you know, with loved ones, friends, strangers. Be able to sit down and talk, conversate, listen to each other's opinions, you know, and just interact. So, with that said, have you had a moment where you realized that maybe communication is something that you need to focus on? And if you have, you know, what steps did you take to become more open to having those conversations, you know? And yeah, let me know. We can always get together, I can put you on, have a nice conversation on here on a podcast, or you can leave a message and I can reply. This has been Unbroken Ego with Hector and Zach. Thank you very much.
This is Zach. I've had a great time on here with Hector talking about our egos and breaking down ourselves to become better people. Yeah, the question's out there. Is there any time in your life that you felt that you needed to question your communication abilities and sit back and say, hey, do I communicate the best way? Because we clearly all don't. We're imperfect, we're humans, but we can be better. This is Zach with Unbroken Ego with Hector. We're having good times and making sure we change.
Later.